Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Stark Realization. I am excited to have with me another fellow misfit educator. And for those of you who don't know what that is, we're going to encourage you to check out Find Your Grind. Awesome organization. It'll just segue there for you, so definitely check it out. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and introduce our new guest. So, Mark, welcome to the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell our guests where you are at and what you do.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Super excited to chat with you, and really just humbled by the opportunity to be a part of a Stark Realization. So my name's Mark Brown. I'm an assistant principal up here in Newberg, Oregon at Newberg High School. We're right in the middle of wine country, about halfway between Portland and the beach. So perfect setting, one of the most beautiful places on earth. I tell everyone, if you haven't been here, you got to get here. Got to check it out in mid to late summers when it's at its best. But so an assistant principal here, my second year being an assistant principal, kind of got into the job in a weird way. We had some late resignations at the end of a school year, so I got asked to do it on an interim basis. And then this last year got asked to take it permanently. So it was definitely a leap of faith, and kind of like, I'm not sure if I was ready for it. I always knew administration would be down the pike for me, but I wasn't quite sure it was going to happen this soon. But I jumped at the opportunity and haven't looked back. Absolutely love it. And I think why I love it so much is my main responsibility as an assistant principal. My principal gave me the job. She said, I need you to focus on climate and culture. And so definitely jumped at that opportunity, and I'm so blessed to have the support that I do from my principal, and the freedom I have to get to spend the majority of my time just focusing on what we can do to continually improve our climate and culture.
So let's start with a little bit on that topic there. Now, traditionally, when you ask a vice principal what their role is when they're in a similar call as you are, that they're saying that they're in charge of discipline, behavior, and attendance. Those kind of be like the three things. How is that a different modality and mentality when you're focused, rather than focusing on discipline and behavior, you're focused on culture and climate? How do those two things coexist, but yet also how's it different?
Well, I think it's a unique opportunity because I kind of get to focus on everything, because I think everything within our school makes up our climate and our culture and impacts our climate and our culture. And so I kind of the old saying, jack of all trades, master of none. I kind of get involved in a little bit of everything here and there, which is great, especially as a young administrator. It's nice to just get that experience. But it's really cool to look at everything, kind of step back and kind of get bits and pieces of everything that's going on throughout the school, and then see where, things are going really well. And then how do we continue to invest in that? And then what are some of our issues? What are some of our struggles? Where are we seeing, some things that maybe we don't want to see happening? And so how do we attack that? How do we focus on that? So it's really cool. I head up our attendance team. And so I definitely have a lot of other responsibilities, that common line at the end of a contract that says other duties as assigned. That stuff definitely comes. But to be able to really just, I kind of get to pick and choose where I want to get involved and the things I want to take on, and kind of get to insert myself wherever I want. So I think that's the best part of my job and the most fun part of my job. And I think it gives me a good picture of the health of our school, the health of our climate and culture overall, is because I'm able to get into all the different corners and areas of the school.
That's great. So now let's talk a little bit about what makes that unique, how you guys do things a little bit differently there at your school, specifically what you do differently. Anybody that's been following you on social media, you've been using the hashtag #BeWhoYouIs. Now that took me a minute, especially being an English teacher. That took me a second to fall in line with that. But tell us a little bit about what that means to you and how that's impacted your school.
So Be Who You Is, it comes from my favorite quote, which is, be who you is, because if you is who you ain't who you is. I'll say it one more time. Be who you is, because if you is who you ain't who you is. And I actually heard that. I was a student assistant basketball coach down in Oklahoma at Oklahoma Christian University, and my head coach, Dan Hayes, that was a line he had it up in the office, hanging in his office, and he used it's an old story of his that he used all the time. The first time I heard him say it, it just clicked with me. And I was like, oh man, that's it right there. That's exactly how I want to live my life. But then now as an educator, that's exactly how I want to encourage and inspire others to live their lives, both educators, but also students. And I think it's so important to me because for the majority of my life, the first 30 years of my life, I didn't live that way. And by nature, I'm a people pleaser. If you take those personality tests, I'm the golden retriever. I just want to make everyone else happy. And I want to do whatever I have to do, whatever other people tell me to do, whatever I think they want me to do. That's what I wanted to do, because I just like making people happy, and I like being accepted. And although it's good to make people happy, if I'm living my life through other people's eyes or through other people's expectations, I think that's not fair to me, and that's not fair to other people. And so that the idea of be who you is, I am who I am, and I have my flaws. I'm not perfect. And there's things in my life that are some big challenges, and there's some things in my life that I don't like, but I've got to find a way to overcome my challenges and then take whatever I have, whatever skills I have, whatever unique talents that I have about myself that maybe I don't see as a strength all the time. I've got to use who I am and what I am, who I is, to make a positive impact on those around me. And I think it's really shaped me as an educator, because I think a lot of the times we as educators, we feel like there's this specific mold we have to fit. And we go through our teacher preparation, our educator preparation programs. And, I can still remember I had that professor in college who told me, he said, you shouldn't smile before Christmas your first year, because you want to make sure that you set the tone and you set the rules and kids listen to you. And it's like, I feel like a lot of the times we feel like, whether it be because of maybe a teacher preparation program, or maybe because some of the policies and rules that our schools have, or even some of the unwritten rules or the expectations that maybe we feel like, especially as young educators, that are put on us by some more veteran educators, I feel like a lot of the times we don't allow ourselves to truly be free, to truly be ourselves. Yet I'm finding, and I'm continuing to learn, that that's the best way to connect with kids, because kids see through everything. You cannot fool our students. They are too smart. They recognize and they know when we're not being our best self. They know when we're not being authentic and real. And that's one of the quickest ways to lose opportunities, miss out on opportunities to connect with them, is by not being yourself. And so for me, as an educator, as now a school leader, as a coach, I can't say it enough, be who you is. And that's a challenge first for me. In fact, I'll tell a story here. At the beginning of this year, we were talking about Find Your Grind, which, shout out Find Your Grind, great organization. Like Bradley said, if you don't know them, check them out. But they do Mike Smith Live and Skate for Change, who's partnered with Find Your Grind. They do Socktober every year. And so our students, we've heard about that. We found out about that. And they said, hey, we got to do this. Let's make this happen. Let's collect a bunch of socks and give them to people in need in our community. So I said, all right, let's do it. But I told them, I said, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to go big. We're not going to, I don't want to just collect, 50 pair or 100 pair. We're going to do it right. We're going to do it big. And so they started thinking about, okay, what are some fun incentives? And so we started talking back and forth, and one of the students goes, well, if we raise enough socks, would you get a tattoo? And I don't have any tattoos. I have no tattoos at all. That's not been who I am, because I've thought that I'm probably not allowed to have tattoos, right? I'm a professional. We didn't have tattoos in my family growing up. And so I've always just kind of thought, nah, I can't have a tattoo. But the student asked me, and it was probably like one of those moments in a movie where like the music comes on, and I just kind of paused. And as the student staring at me, I said, yeah, I can get a tattoo. Why not? There's no rule against that. And so I said, sure. If we get the equivalent of one pair of socks for every student in our high school, which would be about 1,500 pair of socks, I'll get my first tattoo. And sure enough, we got like 1,900 pair of socks. So later this year, at some point, not quite sure exactly when it's going to happen yet, I'm going to get my tattoo, and I'm going to get the tattoo of Be Who You Is, because I want it to be, and I'm going to get it backwards on my chest, so that every day when I look in the mirror, it's going to be a reflective reminder to me that before I leave my house, as I step into my car and step into the building of my school, I have to be who I is. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't tell you enough how much it's impacted my life, and that simple, not correct academic language or whatever. It really is how I want to live my life and how I want to inspire and encourage others to live their life.
That's awesome. Chase Chatfield, my guest last week, he touched on
Mm-hmm.
that same concept that we come out of college, or we enter the profession with this concept, whether it's been instilled by us through the media, through professors, through TV and film. The portrayal of what a teacher should be is kind of ingrained in us. And even the culture and climate of the school contributes to that. And so when we come in and we have that mentality that this is how I have to be, when it's not true to ourselves, our students recognize that immediately. They see through it pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a tough thing to get away from sometimes. So we have to understand that it's going to be far more valuable for our students to be a genuine, true version of ourselves who care about them and care about their education, rather than just trying to fit into a mold of what we think a teacher should be, even when that mold isn't necessarily correct.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. I love it. That's awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to when we see you better make sure you get either some photos or live stream that tattoo session.
Yeah, well, we've put in the application to the state to see if we can get a temporary parlor permit, because the kids want me to do it at school.
Oh, wow.
So like during an assembly or during lunchtime. So yeah, that's why we're kind of putting it on hold. We're making sure we can do it right, do it big.
That is cool. What a neat opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Very fun. That's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about then short-term and long-term goals. Where do you see this going? This is becoming more than just a mantra. It's almost more of a movement. And where do you see this impacting your kids, and how do you hope that this benefits them in the future?
Yeah, I think first I'll start with, it's really impacted, even in indirect ways, my work with climate and culture here at Newberg High School, in that when I took over this job, we weren't celebrating our students. And it was really, I was the activities director before I was an assistant principal. And it was always this battle between performing arts and athletics, and which one got more airtime or which one got more publicity or attention. And, we have a great CTE program, and we have phenomenal work going on that no one knew about. We didn't showcase it. We didn't talk about it. And, I know a lot of people talk about be the author of your story. Darren Pepper, he's really encouraged me, be the author of your story, tell your story. And so with the idea of be who you is and celebrate our individuality and all the different great things that we have, great individuals we have, we've really started celebrating our students. And we do students of the month, and we do multiple students of the month, and we celebrate our staff, and we do different staff awards within just the staff themselves, but also from the outside, from parents, from students. And really just this idea that whoever you are, as long as you are being your best self and you are doing what you can to be your best self and support others in being their best selves, whatever you're doing, whatever arena you're in, we want to celebrate that. We want to highlight that. And we want to make sure everyone knows that we've got thousands of awesome people here in Newberg doing their best each and every day. And it's not that we didn't have that already. We just didn't celebrate it. And so I think that's one way it's already had an impact, is that I don't care who you are, what you are, as long as you're doing your best to be your best self, be who you is, and support others. We want to celebrate that. I think personally, I'm working on developing a keynote presentation. I'm going through within our ranks and trying to learn, what it takes to make that jump into professional educational speaking. And that's been a great experience for me. I think I've got a great message. It's a very personal message that I think will resonate with students. I think my real passion is I want to get to as many students as possible, because students are in such an important part of their life and in their development right now in high school, and really, social development, figuring out who they are, finding their identity.
Yeah.
And so just that message of be who you is, don't try to be anything other than exactly who you are. And then once you found out who you are and what your talents are, thrive in that. And so I'm really trying to develop a keynote presentation so that I can start to spread my message. I am in the beginning stages of working on a book. I've been doing it over the last couple of years, but I've never really put it together. So really trying to get some focus and going through the keynote the learning of how to put together my keynote presentation. That's helped me with that. So hopefully in the next couple of years that'll be coming out. And then been working on my doctorate, my EDD. So got a lot of different things in the air. But it's been fun to really start to put it all together. I've been pretty scattered professionally in my life, and I've worked on a lot of different side projects and done a lot of really cool things. But I'm really starting to bring it all together, and really this focus of be who you is, and how can I first remind and challenge myself. I've got to be that. If I'm going to tell others and I'm going to encourage others, I've got to live that. But then really now starting to take it to the level where I really want to connect with people and reach as many people as I can to encourage everyone who will listen to me that I believe the only way to live life is be who you is.
Absolutely. So other than following on social media with the hashtag #BeWhoYouIs, how else can people follow you? Or if they want to book you for a speaking event, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so definitely hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Mark Brown. And then I'm on Facebook also if you want to hit me up there. That's probably, I use Facebook right now more personally, going to get my professional profile set up. But Hey Mark Brown on Instagram and on Twitter. And then, yeah, my goal is by the end of this school year, heading into the summer and fall, really be geared up, ready to launch with my keynote. So definitely follow me. I want to follow you back. I use Twitter really as my a learning resource, and I've connected with hundreds of educators that way. And so if you think you have something I need to hear, make sure to hit me up because I want to learn from as many of you as I possibly can.
Thank you. I sure appreciate it. Mark, thank you. It's been a pleasure having you with us today on A Stark Realization. Thank you for sharing your passion. Thanks for all you do for students. And most importantly, that constant reminder, a daily reminder that we need to genuinely, truthfully, and unapologetically be who we are. So I love it.
Absolutely. And hey, I want to give a shout out to you. You've been a huge encouragement to me and inspiration for me. And since we've met at JRNC the last couple summers, I love following you. I love seeing what you're doing, and you inspire me to be better each day. So I appreciate you.
Thanks, man. The feeling is reciprocal. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for tuning into this episode of A Stark Realization. And we look forward to seeing you back here next week.